Hello, my name is Pam Joslyn, and I'm your 8th grade science teacher at Susan Clark Junior High. As I begin my 28th year of science teaching, I'm excited to learn and share my learning experiences with you. On a personal note, I will celebrate my 30th wedding anniversary with my husband Jim. Soon we will celebrate the marriage of our son Eli with his best friend Haley. Einstein, my pet rabbit, will attend school with us this year. Before we begin our educational adventure, we should reflect upon your personal historical perspective of education and its impact and ask, where are we? Where do we want to go? And how do we want to get there? Amazingly, these questions have universal implications. As a science teacher, I've encouraged students to engage in the inquiry process through a variety of scientific investigations, whether finding the spring constant in a toy frog, finding the relationship between distance and time of an engineered object rolling down an inclined plane, or predicting where a water balloon will land after studying projectile motion. As the next generation's science standards were adopted, I added more three-dimensional learning to provide meaningful constructs for my students, whether designing a bike that travels across the pond while converting one form of energy to another, designing a cell phone case dropped from various heights after studying impulse and momentum, or designing a cardboard boat that can be paddled across the school pond. As I added more engineering facets in my performance assessments, I noticed that the students were engaged in the design process, but some students were not relying on content or data to drive the iterative process. So I began to intentionally ask the students to collect data, whether in the design of security systems by measuring the angle of incidence and reflection, or measuring speeds in car crash tests. I found that students' attitudes would shift during the design process, and students indicated the importance of data collection. As we go through the learning process, you should realize that you have the right to make mistakes.
And you have the right to be heard. We all face challenges as we learn.
I particularly want to promote problem-solving strategies that foster an environment that encourages sustainability and entrepreneurial development. To help me obtain my goals, I felt it important to reflect upon my personal global perspective, to orbit, to make observations, relate what you learn and apply it to your immediate world, to broaden your worldview from either another region or cultural perspective, to make an impact on your own community or even globally, and then reevaluate or think again about your original ideas and mindfully consider the development of transformed ideas. So our adventure awaits. I'd like you to open your minds and be curious as we orbit our world. I wanted to share some of my personal learning adventures, whether balancing a Makoro canoe in the Okavango Delta in Botswana, Africa, or skydiving above the North Shore on the island of Oahu in Hawaii, or traversing the snow in the Arctic in Finland on a reindeer sleigh, or observing the orcas off Victoria Island, or identifying the KT boundary, a dark, narrow band of sediments and carbonized plant material that separates the Cretaceous and Tertiary periods about 65 million years ago in Makashika State Park in Montana, or riding a fat bike on the sand dunes of Swakopmund in Namibia. I challenge you to brighten your world. Focus on your own surroundings as together we orbit.